So I need another computer.
Yeah, I'm checking to see if it comes up on my notifications as well.
It will come up on your notifications in a moment. Right, so we're recording now.
Okay, cool.
Hi, if anybody's out there watching this on YouTube, we've never tried this before, and so I've just got to set up some details on YouTube. So if everyone could just bear with me just a few moments, we will be ready to start live on YouTube. And my head is working with two pieces of technology. And as it speaks, I need to just dabble back and forth a minute, and we've got to using new technology. So anyone out there, don't lose interest. I've got to just do some twiddly things with YouTube. And whilst I'm doing some twiddly things with YouTube, Jessica can tell you some things about archaeology, but not the subject yet. So go on, Jessica, it's over to you. You talk and I will do the faffing.
Anything about archaeology then?
As long as it's to do with the Romans.
The Romans. Well, obviously we've had that lovely mosaic found. And it sort of proves your argument with previous lessons about how, you know, the Romans never left completely Britain. I think that's quite interesting. So there's a lot of finds going on at the moment, which I think is very interesting, all around the world. I think they found a pair of trousers, actually. This is not Romans, but I think they found a pair of trousers. It was in the...
Couldn't they just Roman trousers just for the sake of it? No, nobody's going to know if they don't look it up.
No, they weren't
Was
Roman
that fake
trousers.
archaeology?
It was trousers like from 3,300 years ago in China. And they were made for horse riding. They radiocarbon dated it. I saw that this morning. I thought it was quite interesting because they're very well preserved.
Sorry, I'm really interrupting badly now. The Chinese seem to really get all the good finds.
Yes. They were impeccable, especially with the detailing on the, you know, it was on the thighs and the knees. It was like a little swirly sort of detail, but it was lovely.
We like swirly detail. We do like the swirly bit. That's just really good.
It makes it even more fancy.
It does, and you know what? We are nearly close on everything set up here, and I think even though this is mildly live, because the people who'll be watching this will be watching this. They won't be watching this next week. So the week that they will be watching this for Archaeology Cymru will, I do believe, be the week of... Hang on a minute. I think that this one will be going out on the 4th of January.
Mm-hmm.
Because we've got the pre-recorded class going out, which we'll be doing tonight, tomorrow, and this one, yes. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Are you seeing this now on your YouTube feed?
Yes, I've got it on my phone here, so it's going good on the phone.
I hope you've liked it.
How do you like it? I'm so useless. Oh, I see now. Yes, now I've liked it.
Brilliant. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm done now. Everything is working. Amazing if technology is working. So I do believe if you actually go to the video, you can actually clearly see the Pilgrim Road to Mount Temple and the Pool of Shalom.
Yes.
Or if you're completely illiterate and from Barry, it's Siloam. It is Shalom, isn't it? Is that right? Jessica, are you hearing me? Jessica?
You're breaking up a little bit. Sorry, Carl. It's testing us.
But your side of things is really working well, isn't it?
Yes, it's fine. I'm also checking if that makes sense, if other websites work. So it's all good. It's a
Right,
full
so-
bar for once.
Do you know? I actually. I've Jessica, you keep talking a minute. I just got to do something
Yeah.
in the background. 1 second.
I think one thing that also was highlighted in my sort of looking into the news this week, I think also sort of relates to what we're talking about today, is they found a ritual bath at the time of Jesus, from the time of Jesus, which was found in the Gethsemane garden in Jerusalem. So I feel it's very interesting how they're uncovering the original city of Jerusalem and piecing together more of the story of, well, the biblical time, really. It's very interesting to sort of put data with something that, you know, is a book that's believed by many, it's given validation to it.
So we're back again.
Hello.
Hi. Do you know what? This is like a typical archaeology company lecture. That like stuff going on. It's like really live.
Yeah.
And it's not really live because this is like going out in 2 weeks' time, but it's live for us because the thing is the pressure of live is that it is live, and it's just like you've got people in the room. There's probably nobody watching this now at all, but they might be, and that is the secret. They might be. So we'll just see how that works.
It also stays on your channel as well, doesn't it?
But it will sort of go secretive.
Right. Okay.
So as a first, there is actually somebody else watching this at this minute.
I think that's my phone. Hang on. See if I can share the link. I'm gonna go and share the link on my social media.
Do you know, whoever's watching this is going to think, get on with it. Right. Okay. Okay. So let's just do the formal introduction, Gia. Let's just make sure that I've got, make sure everything's flowing. I've just got to do one little detail. I've got my notes in front of me. That's key. Now, somehow I got the PowerPoint in front of me. Right. So I'm Karl-James Langford. As some of you know, I've been doing teaching for quite some time with Archaeology Cymru and Archaeology Virtual Online, as we will be in the new year. And this is an Archaeology Cymru sort of pre-recorded lecture for the day of the 4th of January 2020. But this is recorded on the day of the 22nd of December. Now, it's really appropriate to do something about the Holy Land. And a topic that I could say that I've come across. And we're looking at this image here, the pilgrimage road to Mount Temple and the Pool of Shalom. Now, I'll do the little bit of introduction that I've got in front of me. The discovery of the Shalom inscription, the 6-line inscription reads. Now, what's this 6-line inscription? So if we go, there it is, the 6-line inscription. And the carving was found in a tunnel itself in 1880 by accident. And we've got links with Pontius Pilate. So obviously we've got links with Pontius Pilate, we've got links with a road. We've got links, obviously, somewhere with Jesus Christ there along the way. An archaeologist, and I read this stuff online and I glazed over because it was just too intense. And it just seemed appropriate to be doing something like this sort of around Christmas. Though this is going out on the 4th of January, most of us will want to believe that it's still Christmas and that nothing's happening and we haven't had that dreaded thing happening throughout the whole of 2020.
Yeah.
So, Jessica, I think the best thing we can do is you tell us something about the subject, and then maybe what we could do, going back to that image, the pilgrimage road to Mount Temple and the Pool of Shalom. And I don't know if you're going to do an introduction or look at point 1. So is this the right slide to go with point 1?
well, point one, I was just going to go to the next one. I feel like we've done the introductions. We set the scene a little bit. That's why I
Really?
chose.
Have we done
Well-
any blood and guts? Have we done any people being nailed on the cross or anything like that? No.
No, I do think the reason why I sort of chose this sort of topic was because it was Christmas, and I felt like it was very appropriate to have something about the old city of Jerusalem at this time. And I think it sort of highlights, you know, it not only does it sort of create an importance for a lot of Jewish and Christian religions, but it also sort of brings, you know, a different meaning to the Bible, a more factual meaning that these people did exist and these, you know, some things did happen, whatever you believe. And I just think it's very interesting.
Can I just ask you just to carry on a little bit more?
Yeah. So we're on the inscription slide now, and I sort of noted how it discusses. It says the tunnel, and this is a story of the tunnel. ... The axes were against each other, and while there were 3 cubits who were left to cut, the voice of a man called to his counterpart, for there was Zada in the rock and on the right, and on the day of the tunnel being finished, the stone cutters struck each man towards his counterpart, axe against axe, and flowed water from the source to the pool for 1,200 cubits, and 100 cubits was the height over the head of the stone cutters. So I think this, you know, it just talks about how this this tunnel was created, and it even talks about the measurements of it all. So it gives us an idea, you know, and especially archaeologists, what to look for and the size of it, and the importance, the fact that they put an inscription there, to me, you know, it shows that they're very proud of this tunnel that they've made. It has led to this pool, this, you know, very important, and obviously that shows a cultural significance to this tunnel, and it, you know, it brings more than just a story to it. It gives more of a social aspect, a broader aspect to biblical history. But like you said, it was found in 1880 by a boy by accident, and it was too. Yeah, go on.
Sorry, can I just stop you there? So basically, the inscription again, the 6-line inscription reads again: the tunnel is the first line, and this is the story of the tunnel. While second line.
Mm-hmm.
Third story, the axes were against each other, and while 3 cubits were left to cut. So that's the third line. So I think we're talking about excavating this tunnel, aren't we? So
Mm-hmm.
the voice of a man, so that's line 4. So the voice of the man, they can hear each other as the tunnels are coming towards each other. This is what the story's about. Underground, so that they're so on the 4th line, it's a tunnel that they're excavating. They're cutting the tunnel through rock using axes, and within 3 cubits of each other, they can basically hear each other through the rock. So that's the 4th line. Called to his counterpart, there was Zada in the rock on the right, and then we've got, so that's the 5th line, isn't it? Yeah. So they can hear Zada, and on the day of the tunnel, it's saying being finished, but we don't have that. On the day of the tunnel, the stone cutters struck each man. I said each other, didn't mean that. Struck each man towards his counterpart, axe against axe, and flowed water from the source to the pool for 1,200 cubits. And 100 cubits was the height over the head of the stone cutters.
Yeah.
So in other words, somebody's cutting with the water.
Mm-hmm. Working with the water, really, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, yeah, behind them, aren't they? So they're actually, so what we can work out from that, you can work out that the water's behind them as they're cutting. Is that right?
Yeah.
And then they go into...
That's what I'm gathering.
Yeah. Well, anyway,
which is quite interesting, because I thought Romans sort of they just didn't work with the water. I thought they just sort of built it and that was that.
But Are we giving too much away by mentioning the Romans at this stage?
Yes, I apologise.
So do you want, so to give a bit more of the context, you were saying about the boy finding it accidentally in 1880, the tunnel. Yeah.
Yes.
And back to what it said, it records how two groups of workers started from opposite ends. The Channel Tunnel, you can imagine. You can imagine a French bloke and an English bloke, and I can hear them through the rock. No, actually, they used rock cutting equipment, didn't they, underground? So it's not the same. So anyway, back to 2,000 years ago, or are we there? Digging through the solid rock underground and meeting in the middle, an amazing feat, if I may say so, an absolutely amazing feat that they've worked this out. They're meeting in the middle, and the Hebrew inscription talks about how one group miraculously heard sounds of pickaxes. That's the Zada bloke. So they would know which way to go through the windy tunnel. The tunnel now channels water to the Pool of Shalom and can be seen in Jerusalem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is, I think it's very interesting to sort of, the fact that they found that inscription, that, that little piece of evidence, and it tells so much about, the working and the sort of logic behind building a tunnel like this.
Do you know what I'd like to do? I want this image bigger on the screen. So let's just see if we can, you talk a minute. I'm just going to see if I can get this much bigger. So actually, oh, voila! See, technology works eventually. Yeah. Do you know what I'm actually going to do? I'm actually going to see. I'm going to see if I can hear what's happening on. What's happening on YouTube? Whether we can actually hear on YouTube. And actually, we've got 4 people watching, so 3 of them are us. Yeah, I can hear it. Excellent.
It's a success. I'm proud of us.
So, hang on, have I got feedback on? So there you go. So what I've done, I've muted that there. So so I don't think anyone's getting any feedback. So we've actually got three watching now. So
yeah.
So 2 of them are us, I've worked out, 1 somebody else. So go right, okay. That's so. One thing I'm a bit confused about. In your notes.
Mm-hmm.
In your notes, if we go back to the notes, if you notice, there's a lot of damage to the top of the inscription.
Yes.
So the last line, when it says, "And on the day of the tunnel, the stonecutters struck each man towards his counterpart, axe against axe, and flowed water from the source of the pool for 1,200 cubits, and 100 cubits was the height over the head of the stonecutters." Yeah.
Carl, are you meant to be showing the notes on the screen?
No, I'm not. No, I'm not. I'm supposed to be going back to that. So there you go.
I think where I got that from, I think it was sort of theorized, and it was sort of something that went with the, was the most common school of thought of what they thought was said. But as you could see on some of the notes, it does have question marks behind on things. So maybe it was theorizing that was just sort of the best school of thought to go with. That's what it seems like with me.
Do you know what's happened now? So if I do that there, right? Technologically learning. So I think what happened then is that I'm just going to go back to this. So whoever's watching this, they think they've never done this before. No, not like this. No,
it's all new.
This is completely new to everyone. So I've talk a bit, and I'll just get this back up on the screen. Don't worry, it's fine.
talk about this? Well, I'm going to talk about the topic anyway.
Back over to you. No, you can. You've got a right to talk about the topic.
No, I to be fair, I know they've started opening it because obviously the excavations on this has been such an importance. I think it's because obviously it's religiously motivated. However, I would like to go because, you know, even though I've been brought up with the Catholic religion and it's not something I follow now, I still find it beautiful. And I'd like to visit because I know what we're going to be talking about today. They've started opening it up for the public to go and see, obviously not with current circumstances, but hopefully when it all improves, I would love to go.
Look, the biggest question is, when you, do you know what I've got it's happening again. It's working. There you go. Now you can see the image back up there, yeah?
Yeah.
Brilliant. It's happening again. Do you know the one thing about cubit, right? Yeah. So we got a ruler in front of us, right?
Mm-hmm.
So in relation, what exactly is the size of a cubic?
I'm not sure.
In relation to a centimeter. So basically, it's saying a cubit, is an ancient measure of length, approximately equal to the length of a forearm. So
it's 1 cubit to 45.72 centimeters. So
right, so basically, that's a cubit from the from there to there, isn't it? It said it was typically 18 inches, so that's 44 centimeters. So that's a cubit. You know, one thing I'm wondering about, if you go back to the description again, and if you go back to, so you can see the image.
You're showing the notes again, Carl.
I'm showing the notes. It's all going wrong. It's really all going wrong. Right. So there you go. I'm showing that again. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. I'm showing the doodah. Excellent. What am I showing now?
You're showing the PowerPoint. Yes.
Excellent. So I got one thing I have to make sure is that my notes are coming up again. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's not actually. It's the PowerPoint still.
Oh, my notes. Oh, brilliant. Excellent. My notes are not coming up. Brilliant. So, do you know, it's so much easier just teaching on Zoom. You just get like, but YouTube, Zoom, me, images. No, this thing about a cubit, right, is if a cubit is that length, 18 inches, right?
Yeah.
If one thing I'm thinking, it's going 100 cubits was the height over the head of the stonecutters. Now, when you read that, it's almost as if that's the amount of water above the people's head, but that's actually in the rock, isn't it? That's the depth.
Yeah.
Am I right in thinking this is 100 cubits underground?
Yeah, that's what I gathered, because
is that what you gathered? Because this is what this is reading to me.
Yeah, and because it was discovered underground.
Yes,
so that's what I've interpreted it as, not so much the water.
And so it records how two groups of workers started from opposite ends, which we've already worked out, digging through the solid rock underground and meeting in the middle. Yeah, you know that. So the Hebrew inscription talks about how one group miraculously heard the sounds of pickaxes. Now, I think that is quite miraculous. And then the tunnel, we know about the tunnel leading into the pool of Shalom. Now, why I gotta be honest with you, it's a bloody tunnel. Why is this so relevant?
Yeah,
but it is relevant, isn't it? Because of the archaeology in regards to the tunnel.
Yeah, and I think one thing that stands out to me is, they're using, two people going from one end, and they're using sound to sort of ensure that they're going the right way. I think it's very sophisticated. Never crossed my mind that something could be done like that. So I think it was very, unique. It had to be mentioned.
But is it unique? That's the point, because it's something that people did in the past. People have been mining for thousands and thousands of years. The first miners, we want to talk about it. For example, the Great Orme in Llandudno, they were mining there in the Bronze Age, so that was 4,500 years ago. People were mining in Grimes graves. People have been that was in the Neolithic period, 6,000 years ago. People have been living in caves in the Middle East. Tunnels is nothing
I think
new.
what makes it sort of unique is, instead of just saying, oh, it's a tunnel that leads to, the pool, leave it at that. They've sort of brought out, other aspects of it. This not just biblical, just like you said, just how they sort of worked to make tunnels. It just adds more, I guess, perspective on maybe workers' lives who worked on this, what they would do at work. And I just think it just brings more of an aspect to it socially, as well as, bringing some more biblical knowledge to the area. But
you've nailed what I was going to say. I was just thinking, well, one of the things I wanted to say was that we've got what was the light like down there? How did that work?
Yeah, because they don't mention that really. It just sort of mentions, the windy tunnel and just sound. So did they just sort of go off sound alone?
When you go to not Grimes graves, when you go to Llandudno and the Bronze Age mines, we think about them having candles and that type of thing. And you hear about, the thing is, there's so much that we don't know about mining, and there's so many things that these people, there's so many things that we don't really understand. Just the sense about light, sound, direction, how they were able to do this. But the main thing is they were able to do this. It should be no surprise that they were able to do it. Yeah,
no, exactly. I think, it's not a shock as in like, oh, they're able to do this. Because I'm not doubting the intelligence or, the logic of people in the past at a different period and a different place. I think it's just sort of interesting how, it's been documented and sort of put into an inscription. It obviously had some sort of significance, and to me, it just jumps out as something. To me, looking at it as, someone who's interpreting that, it just tells you a lot of, workers, their jobs and how they've done things. To me, it just sort of brings more of a, it's just something so little has brought out more information for us.
And it's just there is also lots missing from the inscription as well. It's just, if we quickly jump back to, there's so much missing. Look at, there is a lot missing from it.
And I think that just sort of adds to the limitation of it, really. We don't really know everything.
Exactly. We are reading sort of right to left, aren't we? So so we've got the start of it. If it'd been the other way around, we'd have lost all the beginning.
Yeah.
So one thing I want to do is this bloke.
Yes.
We've got to look at this bloke.
Captain Charles Warren.
Yeah, Charles Warren. He definitely looks like a Charles.
Yes.
So the discovery of the hidden passage to the biblical city of Jerusalem was investigated by British explorer Captain Charles Warren in 1894. I gotta be honest with you, the look on him, if that's a captain, right, what did a general look like?
I know, he looks rather fancy. I even had to sort of double take to see if it was the right picture of him at first, but it was. He looks very regal, I would say.
What I'm thinking? You know what I'm thinking? This is probably a later image, because he looks like he's been bestowed. That looks actually quite. That looks like quite a fine uniform for a captain. I know uniforms for captains were quite fine, but that is something really.
I think because of, you know, his part in discovering the city of Jerusalem, you know, is such a big thing, especially for Britain at that time. With religion, you know, we know what Victorians were like. They were very big on their religion, and I think this was something for him that was tangible, that brought him closer to God in a way. And I think maybe that's why he was given all the praise that he had, because they've given him something to behold, in a sense, you know, that medieval idea of behold, sort of actually physically having a close connection with God.
And I got to be honest with you, we've got a couple more people watching now. So welcome to our look at the Pilgrim Road in Jerusalem. So I'd like to mention that I've got this link, this text that you sent me, which I'm going to show.
Yeah,
I've looked this up. So let's just see where we are. It's share.
Very detailed. That's why I just put it in the link there, because I've got it on my screen.
Do you know, I couldn't do this. I looked at this and I thought, right, there is one thought. If you notice this, it reads 1864. Notes from 1864.
That's the one thing that annoyed me. I think what happened was that he started looking at it in the 60s, and I think it was sort of later on in that, you know, decade later on in sort of Queen Victoria's reign, should we say, that's when I think he sort of made it more public. I think so. That's where I got that date from. But I think he started in the 60s. So
maybe he was a captain in the 60s, and the image that we've seen in the 1890s, yeah, that would make sense. So I looked at this and I thought, right, okay, that looks okay. And I went down and I thought, that's all right. Temple Mount, Charles Wilson and Charles Warren, his work. And you went, right, okay, yeah, I'm all right with that. No, no, I can't deal with this. So in other words, anyone who wants to look at that.
I know. It's an evil page.
I can't do that. And the tunnel that we're talking about, where is it on this? It's going to take me 10 minutes to find it.
Because he talks a lot about the cisterns.
He talks a lot.
And there's one discussion that he has about the dome. So if you go back to the first picture that you have, it says, you know, that not which that one, a little bit further down, it says Temple Mount.
There, that one, yeah?
Yeah. So he's got a close-up version of the dome, but in the picture below that one, you can see it right in the center as well. And from what I can gather of it is, you know, the cisterns are very scattered, which is what I noted. You know, they didn't really expect it to be so far away from each other. They expected them to be a lot more closer.
So can I just ask you what? Just explain for everyone watching, what's the direct connection with the Temple Mount and the Pool of Shalom? Then what's the direct connection?
So Temple Mount is it's a place where pilgrims go, I believe. And the Pool of Shalom.
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 That's the one.
Say it again.
Shalom.
So
no, you got it. Shalom.
Yeah. So these are two very important areas, because the pool is where they believe that Jesus performed a miracle on a very sick man there. He washed him, and so a lot of pilgrimages are taken to there, and I think Temple Mount is sort of nearby, and there's a tunnel that goes to both of these, and they're very close proximity, but they were expecting them to be a lot more closer than further away than what they were. So I think the significance of them both is that they both have you know, a very strong importance to the Jewish and Christian religion in terms.
And don't forget the Muslims as well, because this is a really important point.
Yes.
For them, yeah.
It's important for them, but I know, because with the Jesus part of it all, I think that's what makes Christians more drawn to it. but it's a very spiritual place. And I think, you know, they both have great significance on each other because they were both done at the same time and they're very close to each other.
Do you know what I've done is I've ended up sharing my screen. Right, we will get, so that's good. So what we're going to do, I'm going to go back to our original share. So let's just go down to new share. Let's go back to where we were. There we go. So good looking chappy, nice looking chappy he is. And we've just mentioned these nice little plans. And look at that, we're underground.
Yes. I believe that one is it the Gihon Spring? Yes, it is. So this is what Charles Warren had found.
So this is another site, not the one that
No, this is a spring that he found as well, which is also another biblical water source. But this was found beneath a potato field. It had 500-year-old city walls as well with it.
You know what I'm going to say? They didn't have potatoes back then, but I do know exactly what you mean.
Yeah, so it was potatoes at well, you know what I mean.
Yeah, I do know. It's fine. It's fine.
So then I think there was not really much done on the area. Obviously, it was a very big interest of archaeologists all around the world. But the next chapter of it was 2004, which is, I believe, 2004. So the pipes burst in the area, and I think they had a municipal maintenance crew just sent out there. But because they knew how significant the area was in terms of biblical archaeology, they made these workers be accompanied by an archaeologist, which what they found was very groundbreaking, which they have announced in 2019 more information. So more and more is coming out of this little area that they've found. It has come to quite a bit of controversy, from what I believe, from people who live in the area. They saying that is
there's always going to be controversy. It's the Middle East. What? You don't even need to mention that.
No, it's a lot of it is because it's underground. People are worried that it's going to sort of collapse the houses down.
Right, yeah. So the potato field, the walls, the springs. There's the Gihon Spring here, exactly.
So it's all about sort of in a way of trying to preserve it in a way that, you know, keeps everyone on the surface happy, but also I think preserving everything that's underneath is got a huge significance for people today, as it did back then. So, and obviously me loving history and archaeology, I think it should just be preserved regardless in some sort of way. Because from the pictures that I've seen, it's very remarkable. It just looks, I can't explain it. It's just, you know, I can't imagine what it would feel like to be there, but to actually see them from the photos, it just seemed like, wow. So I think the picture that you're showing there is the southern wall. So this was what was found due to all of the excavation done after this.
Right. Is this coming to? I tell you what. I need to take a quick break, right? Simply because I'm not really good when I'm drinking tea.
No, that's fine.
So I tell you what. Speak to everybody a minute, and I will. And I'll be back.
Yeah. No. Should I carry on?
Yeah. Carry on.
Yeah.
Carry on.
So, hi everyone. What you can see here is you know, it's very beautiful. I think it's beautiful anyway, because it's still well preserved for, you know, how long it is, and like I said, for many people is being able to sort of connect. It's that connection is, you know, something tangible with their own religion. And you know, this was discovered quite recently, and this was the first century stone stairs, and it's seen, you know, this all led to the pool of Shalom. And it just shows, I think, sort of how this was sort of created, how this how everyone went to these cisterns, how they were all plotted in a way that it was easily accessible for people. And I think what is interesting, I think obviously they thought this pool of Shalom was going to be closer towards the Temple Mount. However, I think what it shows to me is a process of the pilgrimage to these holy sites. It's not just bam, bam, go straight there. Is almost like walking along and sort of giving you time to meditate and think in between these sites. And it makes it very much more, just from looking at that, you can just sort of see how people, you know, worked with their religion, how they sort of put themselves into how the city of Jerusalem works. It just shows how they sort of showed their devotion, I guess, but it also sort of brings into how maybe it was perceived with people after Jesus' time. So the fact that the Pool of Shalom has a miracle of Jesus's, so it shows that he did there, he was there, and to be there, I don't know, if I was there, I think I'd be touching the walls and I'd be closing my eyes and I'd be transporting myself back into that time, trying to put myself in the shoes of maybe people witnessing that miracle. And I think that then also relates to people who actually are very religious. They might do the same thing as me and sort of give that connection, you know, that physical connection with them and their God. But for me, from a historian's perspective, I feel like it just sort of puts me into the life of people who strongly believed in this.
So is that a historian's? Sorry. Is that a historian or an archaeologist perspective? Because I certainly would do the same thing.
Yeah, I think, well, it all goes hand in hand, really. Historians and archaeologists think the same.
Don't say no, we're very different.
Well, we're very different, but I do think in some ways we are interdisciplinary.
Yes.
And I think I think the more historians realise that, the better. You need to sort of work together. Let the archaeology be the horse that pulls the cart, so to speak. Then bring in what you need afterwards.
Yeah, exactly. I always say the archaeologists give the information, and then
well, because you can't argue science.
Then the historians can make it all up.
Yeah.
You know, somebody said in the Bridgen class, somebody said they sent me a Christmas card one year. It said archaeologists are about lies, lies, and more lies. But then again, as a historian, we just dig up the facts.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry, it sounds completely unfair, I know, but
because well, in the past 50 years of archaeology, there's been a big change in the approaches and practices and the confidence of archaeologists. However, I think historians have got to sort of stop being so, we know everything. You don't. Documents can lie.
I do. But I'm not a historian, I'm an archaeologist. There you go. No, we don't know everything. Do you know what somebody said? Somebody said, oh, what was it? When you're about 20 years old, you know everything, and when you get to 40, you don't know anything. And do you know what? Do you know the amount of topics I'm teaching now? Mongolian archaeology, and it was just like, yeah. So look, what I'd like to do is, we haven't done an hour yet, so I want to do a full hour. So what I want to do is recap when I disappeared for a moment.
It's showing the notes again, Carl.
Okay. Oh, naughty. Let's just go back to that. Okay. Yeah. No, I'm showing the screen. It's all gone the pot. Right. So if we, yeah, there we go. Good. And what I want to be showing is actually those ones, my version. Good. So
I think you're showing the YouTube link now.
Oh God.
I was confused for a second. I thought, why is there so many Carls on the screen?
Am I showing it now?
Yeah, and it's the PowerPoint now.
Oh God, happy days. It doesn't get any easier. It doesn't, take archaeology back to the dinosaurs, and that'd be great. We don't do dinosaurs, I'm reminded. Right, so we've got a few people watching still, so that's good. So what I'm going to do is recap. So I heard you mention a little bit about the next chapter. Yeah. So the next chapter, we've gone beyond Captain Charles Warren and his work and the boy. And you mentioned about 2004 when the city's water pipes burst.
Yeah.
A municipal maintenance crew was sent, accompanied by an archaeologist. As they began breaking ground, the archaeologist noticed something significant. He carefully brushed away the dirt to uncover first century stone stairs, the likes of which had only ever been seen on the southern wall of the Temple Mount. He had found the biblical pool of Shalom. So in other words, we got the tunnel.
So the photo that you're showing is the southern walls. You can see the steps there.
Yes.
And then I believe the photo after that should be the steps then that they found in 2004.
There you go.
Yeah, there you go. So they're very precise, aren't they? They're very just, they're just is, but just the way they look so neat.
Type of thing you'd see on the concourse going into Tesco's, good. So, they do look really, really neat. Now, whoever's watching this is going to be thinking, well, this is really good. We got steps. So we spent nearly an hour talking about steps, tunnels, archaeologists, historians, this and that. So this 26-foot wide limestone route, which would have led between the sacred sites of the Shalom Pool and the Temple Mount in Jerusalem. There's the Temple Mount link. It covered this distance of at least a third of a mile. So are we talking about the original tunnel, which we've been talking about?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay. The Israeli Antiquities Authority and Tel Aviv University have been excavating the site for 6 years. Funding has mainly come from the City of David Foundation. And why not? I know them well.
Yeah.
A 220-meter section of the 2,000-year-old road, also described as a step street, has been revealed so far. So, right. So is this the tunnel or the road, or they're the same thing or two different things?
I think they're the same thing, but they get called by different names, depending on who you see. So when I was researching, if you typed in, it went by Pilgrimage Road to Temple Mount. That it goes through as Step Street in the city of Jerusalem. It goes by 2,000-year-old road found in the old city of Jerusalem. There's loads of different ways that this is sort of named and talked about, which is annoying, I guess, because when you want to find, because there's so many different systems, and from what we've seen from Charles Warren, it's very hard to sort of pinpoint what is what. When you're glancing at them, they look like tunnels. What tunnel is that?
If we go to the beginning, so the Shalom inscription is the one talking about this tunnel, right?
Yes.
So this is that tunnel. This is the street. Yeah. This is Captain Charles Warren. Right. The boy finds this. Captain Charles Warren works on it. This is the same thing mentioned in the inscriptions. This is that holy route. Where did the water come into this? So why is there water?
So I believe that the inscription was found in a tunnel that the water was meant to go through, and then this one is so you have the water that goes to the pool, which is where the inscription was, and then you have this here, which connects the Temple Mount with the pool. So with that link, to me, it shows that it's not just you go to one pilgrimage site. I think it's like even though it's a third of a mile, it's still, it's like they go to the temple, they go to the pool, they get washed in the pool where this miracle happened. Then they walk for a bit. It's almost like they're reflecting on their religion, maybe sort of thinking about Jesus walking around, and then they get to the Temple Mount, which is the last part of their pilgrimage.
So let me get this right. So you got the water that leads into the pool, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So you've got the water that leads into the pool. And then the pool itself, then this is then an extension of the water coming out, right? So you've got the tunnel that's miraculously been dug through the rock, going through the pool of Shalom, and then this walkway then from the pool of Shalom to the Temple Mount. Is that correct?
Yes.
Brilliant. That makes sense. Good. Now we're making sense. So now the other thing then is about what this is. Yeah?
Yeah.
So this is the next bit of detail. It was first thought that King Harold, I knew a Harold. King Harold had built this road over 2,000 years ago. However, in 2019, it was believed that he built this.
Yeah.
Hang on, I've just moved a minute. Oh God. There we go. That's you again. Oh God. It's, right. So we got Pontius Pilate there. We'll chuck Pontius Pilate on there anyway. So let me go back to my notes a minute. Let's just throw me a minute. Hang on. Let's go back to my notes. There. So it was first thought that King Harold had built this road 2,000 years ago. However, in 2019, the archaeological University of Tel Aviv said that they found more than 100 coins found beneath this route.
Yes.
So the coins were found beneath this ancient road, proving that it must have been completed between 31 and 40 years AD, or CE, by the governor Pontius Pilate, not King Harold. Is that correct?
Yes. So I think this is why it's such an important, why it's in the news now so much. Because I was looking at it. Because they've been talking about this quite a lot, and this is why I mentioned it, was because it was coming up on my feed, and for some reason it was a breakthrough. What we originally thought of this tunnel is actually Pontius Pilate, which also brings more of a debate to it. But I think we should talk about this first.
When we're saying Harold, we mean Herod.
I haven't had my coffee today. That's the problem. I'm still a little bit sleepy.
Do you know what it is? What it is? Kathy won't be watching this, so don't worry about it. She won't be. Oh
gosh, thank goodness, bless her. I don't want to let her down.
So the backstory is Herod, right? Harold. Oh, yes. It's more or less the same pronunciation. Herod. Actually, we're probably both right. The pronunciation was wrong, but people think Herod.
Yes.
Yeah. So there you go. That's fine. We all make mistakes, right? I do every single lecture. So anyway, King Harold is the one responsible, for killing all the children and so on in regards, and Jesus is born in a stable and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
So 30 odd years later, in the reign of Pontius Pilate, who was the one responsible for the execution of Jesus Christ. So in other words, what we've got even if actually King Harold could have actually built something along this route.
Yeah.
But it's been upgraded by Pontius Pilate.
Which, what you've previously mentioned, he was responsible for Jesus' crucifixion. And it makes you think, it makes you think, why did he do this? Because he wasn't favoured by anyone because of what he did. I was thinking, because it's such a holy place, was he doing it to sort of clear his guilty conscience, maybe, sort of please the people, or was it to leave a legacy? Romans don't do things.
Legacy, didn't he?
Yeah, well, the Romans don't do things unless there's something in it for them, really, from what I've gathered. So,
that's a terrible thing to say. The Romans are really nice people.
So, it does raise questions to why he would have wanted to do this.
Yeah.
If he was, if he was responsible for killing Jesus, why would he want to sort of help build a tunnel to where he's done a miracle and where his followers, you know, think is very significant to them? Why did he do that?
So basically, all this sort of comes back to. So if we want to put this in chronological order, we've got the Pool of Siloam, and So are you saying? So I would be saying the tunnel is already built. The water leading to the Pool of Siloam is already built, and then we've got this road then built. The one that, if we go back again, this is the road that we're talking about. Yeah. So this is built to the Temple Mount. So this is now making sense. So, and then the other bit of the story goes is that these coins, those hang on a minute, let's just I've lost my images a moment.
It's okay.
These learning curve, guys, learning curve.
I'll put it in there. I've just sort of looked into, because I know there was a miracle at the Pool of Siloam, but I've just had a look that it was in John. So if anyone's got a Bible or anything like that, so it was John 9.
I've got loads. I got one in the car.
Yeah, we've got quite a few in my house, different types of ones. But you've got John 9, so lines 1 to 11. It talks about this pool and how Jesus healed a blind man. So it's a very significant thing, I guess, because Jesus is, you know, is all about miracles. I think in the New Testament is completely different to the Old Testament, and places of miracles have always been something of interest to anyone in the religion, any type of religion, really. You know, you see it in places like Lourdes, etc. People go to these springs and they sort of bathe in them, and they hope that they're also able to sort of join into the ecstasies, I guess, of following and being a believer.
The road thing is actually springing something up in my mind a minute. But anyway, so I do believe there's still loads to do. So we're right. Okay. Donald Ariel, the archaeologist, explained that statistically coins minted some 10 years later are the most common coins in Jerusalem, and that because these coins are not found under the road, the street was built before their appearance. In other words, only in the time of Pilate. So he suggested that the possibility that Pilate had the street built to reduce tensions between the Romans and the Jewish population, although we can't know for sure. These reasons do find support in historical documents. So in other words, if we want to talk about some technical terms, it's terminus postquem, which is the earliest possible date this road could have been constructed, is around the time that Jesus Christ was executed in around 33 years AD. Yeah,
so I think it fits with that whole narrative. I feel like we've got evidence to prove our claim, if that makes sense.
And in other words, the emperor that we're talking about is this emperor Tiberius. That this is actually all going on. So if you found any coins of Emperor Tiberius under the road, it would also indicate that the road itself is being constructed after these coins were placed into the ground. Yeah, so that would make sense. Or any earlier coins or whatever. So the you couldn't have, if you had coins of Claudius, it would prove that the road was made after the reign of Claudius.
Yes.
If you don't have any coins of Claudius, then it was obviously built in the reign of Tiberius, under the governorship of Pontius Pilate. And there's Pontius Pilate again, the man himself. So Israeli archaeologists from the Tel Aviv University and the Israeli Antiquities Authority uncovered 350 meters of the road, as well as artifacts such as coins, cooking pots, complete stone and clay tools, rare glass items, and a dais, a raised platform used for public announcements, could have been used by Jesus. Parts of arrows and catapults.
Well, I know they found, well, in 2011, they found a 2,000-year-old bell. It's a tiny little golden bell. And it had just sort of details like lines down it. But they discovered it, and, you know, for 2,000 years, that bell hadn't been rung, and archaeologist was able to just go, and it rung for the first time in 2,000 years.
2,000 years, ding.
Yeah,
so,
it was in a sewer. It was a tiny
as you do, bell. You find bells in sewers. I route around them every day. Great.
So it's like a little tiny orb, and it's just 1 centimeter in diameter.
Tiny.
So what they sort of concluded from that was that it was likely an ornament on clothes of the wealthy, or a wealthy resident in the area. Maybe a wealthy resident that sort of went on to this little pilgrimage. But the book of Exodus is sort of brought into this because it mentions tiny golden bells sewn onto the hem of robes of temple priests. So again, to add in how you know well, how big it is spiritually for this place, the fact that, you know, we've got evidence of temple priests being there.
I'm just apparently we've got 6 people watching at this minute, so that's good. I'm gonna do the usual thing. Don't forget to like and subscribe. It's got to be done.
Yeah.
Anyway, I just mentioned this Archaeology Cymru lecture, Archaeology Virtual Online, and this is part of our Christmas pre-recorded videos, but you're watching it live, amazingly. Right, it goes on to say that the project has been controversial as it runs beneath some Palestinian homes. Oh, dearie me. In eastern Jerusalem, with Palestinian authorities, leaders calling the excavation a war crime and part of Israelis' imperialistic feudalization plans.
Yeah. So I think
Nothing wrong with a bit of that.
Yeah, well, I think when you get to archaeology, it doesn't matter what you do, it's always going to have some sort of political interference with it. You know, you see that all the time with identity and
oh, don't do identity politics. I thought we were free of that one today.
Yeah, no, but you see it's always politics have got to be brought into this, which I think is quite interesting. You know, obviously me sort of looking in politics of the past, is quite interesting to see how history can and archaeology can be such a big part in politics, which I think also further highlights why people should start looking into it more and sort of not listen to the narrative that's been put into our history books.
Can I just make one point? You mentioned earlier on about this pool itself was the pool that Jesus sent a blind man to wash in its waters, restoring his sight in the process. I got to be honest with you, right? Why not? Because Jesus was a very intelligent guy, right? He may have known about something in the water. He may have known that there could have been something, and that in itself is very miraculous.
Yes.
You know, I've always thought, say for example, somebody wasn't able to walk, right, and Jesus was able to click the femur itself back into the fibula or something, or was able to deal with something. That's a miracle in itself. You know, that there's lots of things. He may have been able to make somebody speak again, because there's lots of ways he could have been a great miracle worker.
Yeah, I think, I know this probably sounds like a very silly example, but he could have sort of, I know some people, they have like films on their eyes, so maybe he was able to sort of find a way of getting rid of that film on the eye and bringing back some eyesight.
Oh, why not?
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
A miracle. That is a miracle. It is.
Yeah.
You know, I believe Jesus Christ existed. I
do as well. There's evidence that he did.
I'm not a Christian, but I believe he existed, and I believe, why not? I believe, why can't somebody like this exist? And like Muhammad, why can't these people, like Buddha, why can't these people exist?
Yeah.
You know? So Pilate is not an individual beloved to readers of Christian texts. Putting it mildly, is believed to have ordered Jesus's crucifixion. The Jewish community are far from fans of his either. National Geographic writers, contemporary writers, mention incidents in which a governor incited Jewish anger by ignoring the taboo on graven images and incurred the people's wrath for stealing temple funds to pay for a new aqueduct. This connection to Pilate is proved true. If proved true, could possibly shed new light on his legacy. I tell you what, right? I've got to be honest with you. Let's take about that temple bit, right?
Mm-hmm.
If the Jewish population wanted fresh water into the town, then who's paying for it? Somebody's got to pay for it.
Yeah.
So, okay, the decision to excavate this tunnel has been controversial to the Palestinians in the Salwan district, and boring a tunnel is causing damage above. University of North Carolina archaeologist Jody Magnus is amongst those who have criticized the approach, regarding the area as occupied territory, as further inflamed long-held tensions. But at the end of the day, this is getting access into the holy. This place is the holy of holy to Palestinians as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to leave it. I'm just going to say, well, why not? You know, if the Israelis could actually say this is also your route.
Yeah, exactly. And
this is your archaeology. This is your route.
Because instead of just looking at it as is for that religion or this religion, it all boils down to is the history of where you live, really.
Yes,
Doesn't matter of religion, is the history of where you live.
Exactly. So this Carolinian archaeologist, Jody Magnus, casted doubt on coins as an indicator of Pilate being responsible for the road. Let's do this. She argues that the evidence is far from straightforward and that the team are exploring material that could have come from more than one source. These remnants of history are fills that might have been brought in with wheelbarrows from anywhere. Ooh, nasty. If Pontius Pilate was indeed the man behind this pilgrimage road in Jerusalem, why did he order its construction in the first place? Why not? If indeed the road is attributed to Pontius Pilate, it would put a new perspective on the man, perhaps a more positive one, wherein he cared enough about pilgrims entering holy areas that he had a new road built for them. Other factors that motivated him may have included the appeasement of Jerusalem's
disenfranchised,
I would say as well. Disquieted residents, disenfranchised residents, or it could have been a way of imprinting Rome's opulent identity onto the city. Well, you can obviously clearly see that in Life of Brian, can't you? Because that's all real. So you go on.
That's because I have touched on these before. I think maybe it was a mixture of both of those reasons. Appeasement and sort of caring about the people who cared a lot about these sites. But I think it was also, he thought to himself, well, I could do these, and I can also put a big stamp of Rome really on this area, and I can kill two birds with one stone. I think maybe that's what the logic went through in his head. So not only was he pleasing the people, he was sort of pleasing himself really as well, of leaving an imprint on the area.
So just sort of recap. So what we're talking about this pilgrimage route from the Pool of Siloam to the Temple Mount. The evidence of coins dating from sometime in the 20s AD or somewhere like that. They're saying that they would have been used for about 10 years, and they've sort of been deposited underneath the road. And then I think the other stuff is that there's other evidence to say that the road was sealed at a certain time and all these other things. The one thing I think some people overanalyze the archaeology, and maybe this is a simple matter of maybe Pontius Pilate constructing the pilgrimage road to the Mount Temple and the Pool of Siloam. And it's great that we've got a little bit of text associated with it, and why not?
Yeah.
So I think the last bit is here. Another option is good old-fashioned ego, with Pontius Pilate wanting his name to be identified with such prestigious building projects. He eventually left the role of governor, though the reasons for this are not known. Some think he was dismissed in disgrace, others that he merely decided to stand down, or he just had made enough money, he decided to go somewhere else.
Probably, yes.
So I tell you what, is there anything else you'd like to say about this subject at all? Just running through these images again. We've got, there he is, Pontius Pilate.
I just think, it's very interesting how, they found the first parts of it and it went with one narrative, and it's just sort of only recently now. I guess it can all be thanks to different approaches and practices with archaeologists. They've sort of started to bring more of a perspective, and I think uncovering the history of the residents there, giving them more of an understanding of their area, and sort of giving more credibility to religious texts as well. Sort of, they're not just stories. You can go to these places and sort of think about them and act it out in your head while you're there and think about it. I think it's just, even if you're not religious, it's a beautiful place, and you can imagine all the sort of scenes that were there. The temple priests sort of joining in with these believers, and you can just imagine how much of an importance it was such long ago, and it tells us so much now on the old city of Jerusalem. And
the likes of Captain Charles Warren probably thought the same. And
yes.
And this is why we obviously mentioned his work. There's the Temple Mount again, and this is one of the numerous tunnels. And love it. And there's where the pool of Shalom is. That's not where the pool of Shalom is to be found. That's where the rootway comes out, isn't it?
Yes.
Right. Okay. The legendary pool, and obviously that's the stairway, and obviously the coins. So I tell you what we're going to do. We're going to go, but we're going to stop the sharing now.
Yeah.
And we're going to go to there. I'm just going to double check one little bit of detail in the background. So if you can bear with me a second.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Hello. Right, I'm back again. Are you there? Good. So as a first thing on YouTube like that, whilst we're still recording, how do you think? Well, anything else you'd like to say before we call that a wrap?
Obviously we've had our little interferences for sort of trying to deal with the notes in the PowerPoint, but I feel like it went well.
Yes. And
now we've done it, we have more of an understanding of what to do in the future. Hopefully it's more smoother in the future.
Well, we've had 15 people on, so that's pretty good. We've got
that's good.
We've got 5 people still watching. So what I'm going to ask is that has anyone got any questions for us? Can you still hear me?
Yeah, I can still hear you.
Oh, good. Right, so I don't know if anyone's got any questions, because I go on the question bar there. No? Okay, hang on. So I can hear you now. So I've just gone off the screen, so.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
I can hear you twice.
It's like
in 3D.
Echo.
I don't think we've got any questions. So
no, from what I can see on here, one person went and there's no questions.
Well, there you go. We people have liked and subscribed. So what I'm going to do, if anyone's interested in our classes, then I'm going to type that on there. and we'll just go from there. So
Yeah.
A bit weird. So excellent, brilliant. So anyway, that's good. So that'll be recorded there now. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to end the recording, and I've got nothing else to say. Anyway, I'd like to mention to Archaeology Company students that Archaeology Company students have actually watched this. This is the 4th of January, and thanks for watching this. And we will be back on this Thursday. So yes, we'll be. Hang on a minute. Do you know what? I think I've got a few things confused here. No, I do believe I got a few things confused because
I think
I got my dates mixed up, haven't I? Because if this is going out on the 4th, right?
the 4th is a Monday, isn't it?
We'll be back teaching on the 7th.
Yes. Yeah.
So, oh no, this recording is actually for the 28th. Yes, because the recording I'm doing tonight is actually for the 24th.
Right. Okay.
And this is actually for the 31st, Thursday.
Oh, we're very prepared.
So I know now. I know this is for next week. I tell you what, the stress of this, is just, you just need to take a chill pill.
You need to relax, Carl.
I just
Christmas.
need to. Christmas. Do you know what? I got one full seminar this evening.
Mm.
And I've got Richard tomorrow, and I've got whatever. So what I can do, I'm going to end this recording now. We are back. Wait for it. This is going to confuse everyone now. We're back on the Monday, the 5th, for the people from Arnside and Cumbria. We're back on the Thursday, the 7th, live. So that's that. So enjoy Christmas week off. I'm gonna anyway, you stay there. I was gonna call you Amy then. You stay there, Jessica.
No, that's fine, Carl.
So anyone who's actually still watching, can you please like and subscribe?
And also put the notification bell when you subscribe, put that on.
Oh, you've got to have the notification bell, haven't you? That goes without saying. That really does. So I'm going to stop that recording there. So how do I do this? So if we go to there, stop live stream on 3, 2, 1.